The relentless scratching at the basement door was the only sound, a frantic, desperate noise that echoed the frantic, desperate beat of Alex's own heart. He stumbled backward, the beam from his phone's flashlight a nervous, jerking line against the oppressive dark. Every stacked box, every piece of forgotten furniture draped in a dusty sheet, morphed into a monstrous shape in the flickering light. The shadows themselves seemed to breathe, to writhe, just at the edge of his vision. He knew with a certainty that chilled him to the bone that the main stairs were no longer an escape route. They were a direct path into the jaws of whatever was trying to get in. He had to find another way. His flashlight beam swept across the sprawling subterranean space, a frantic search for any alternative. The light glided over the skeletal remains of a wooden chair, stacks of yellowed newspapers that smelled of damp and decay, and a spider web so thick it looked like a shroud. Dust motes danced in the beam like tiny, spectral insects. Hope was a dwindling resource, each passing second of scratching a reminder of how little time he had left. He was a rat in a trap, and the predator was clawing its way through the final barrier. Then silence. The scratching stopped so abruptly, it was more terrifying than the noise itself. A heavy, profound stillness fell over the basement, so complete he could hear the blood pounding in his ears. It was a listening silence, a waiting silence. And then a new sound began, seeping down from the floorboards above him. A heavy, dragging noise. Thump, scrape, thump, scrape. It was slow, deliberate, a sound of immense weight being pulled across the wooden floor. It wasn't trying to get in anymore. It was showing him it could go anywhere it wanted. It was showing him that the walls were no protection. His light, wild and erratic, finally snagged on it. High up on the far wall, almost swallowed by the gloom, was a small, grimy transom window. Its glass was caked with years of dirt, its frame haloed by thick cobwebs. It was barely big enough for a person to squeeze through, set impossibly high, but it was there. It was a chance, it was his only chance. A surge of adrenaline, cold and sharp, cut through his terror. He scrambled over a precarious tower of water-stained cardboard boxes, his hands sinking into the pulpy material. Reaching the wall, he stretched, his fingers just brushing the window's rusted latch. He pushed his full weight against the frame, grunting with the effort, the sound echoing unnaturally in the waiting silence. He threw his shoulder into it. Once, twice, a jarring impact that sent a shock wave of pain down his arm. The window didn't move, it was rusted shut, fused to the frame by time and neglect. He froze, his breath catching in his throat. The dragging sound from upstairs had stopped. The silence that returned was different this time. It wasn't empty, it was filled with a new sound. A soft, wet, shuffling noise. And it wasn't coming from the door. It wasn't coming from upstairs. It was coming from the far corner of the basement, from the deepest, most absolute pocket of darkness that his light had not yet touched. He had not been alone down here. With a hand that trembled so violently he could barely hold his phone, he pivoted, aiming the fragile beam of light toward the sound. The light cut a clean path through the black, landing on the figure. It was crouched low to the ground, a heap of tangled limbs and shadow, its head tilted at an angle that defied anatomy. As the light washed over it, the figure began to stir. It was never trying to get in. It had been down here with him the entire time, waiting patiently in the dark. It unfolded slowly, its limbs extending like a spider's legs, and began to rise